Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, today we're going to open up these two beehives and take a look and see how the queens are doing, if they're laying their eggs. We installed these bees about 3 weeks ago from a box. The first thing you want to do is smoke the hive to let them know you're coming in. So at the entrance, I'm going to smoke the hive. The smoke kind of deadens their senses to what's going on. I wear a white shirt because if I wear dark, they think I'm a bear and they will sting bears. So let me get this open. There shouldn't be anybody in the top because all I've done so far is set up the water, sugar water, 1-to-1 in the spring to feed them. And of course, you can look in there, there's nobody in there. I've got to check and see how they're doing with the sugar water, that they're eating that, giving them energy. And watch when I remove that bucket, you'll see bees, and there's plenty of sugar water in there. So I'm going to remove this top, and they make a sticky substance called propolis, which they use to glue everything down. So that's why we have to have a hive tool to open things up. So there we are. You can see down at the top of the frames. You see the bees are working away there. Give them a little smoke. Let them know I'm coming in. I got to remove this inner cover. When the bees get to the point where they've got this lower part finished off, I'm going to remove this inner cover, and then I'm going to put another set of 10 frames on top so they can start working on filling that deep out too. And there you can see the bees. That black material on top is called pollen patties. We put that on early to give the bees something to work on. I'm going to remove this material right here. It doesn't need to be there. Looks like these guys have been pretty busy. I'm going to start at the end here because they haven't done anything to this frame. I'm going to work my way in. With bees, you kind of have to go kind of slow, be calm and cool with them. I think I just rolled that bee right there. Anyways, you can see that frame is clean. There's nothing happening to that yet. They haven't gotten that far. And as we work our way in, we'll get to the spots where they have started working. You start to see some now on these next frames here. Kick that bee off. And you can see bees there. They're working on building that comb out. You see there's a lot of moisture in there. It means that they're filling in that end with the sugar water I'm feeding them. They're using that to help feed the other bees in there. So I'm going to slide this one down in. I'm going to go to the next frame. What I'd like to be able to do is find eggs. A lot of times when you got so many bees in your hive, you cannot see the queen. She's a little bigger than the other bees, but she's very difficult to find when you got thousands of bees on everything. Here you go, look at her. There's capped brood. So those are babies that are in there. That will be the next bunch of bees. You see one with the yellow on its legs? That's pollen that's been gathered from out around the area here. And then here's the back side of that. They got some bigger cells on there, and those are typically cells for drones, which are male bees. And you see up in the corners, they're going to make that full of cap honey. And they're working on capping that over. So I'm going to put this one back in and go very slowly, very easily. You don't want to bang into the bees. I'm always afraid to roll over the queen. You do that, you lose your queen, and you got problems. We'll go to the next frame here. And as we get more into the center, that's when you generally will find where the queen is located. And please put that hive tool down. Grab this one. Bring this up. Oh, look at that. That's all capped babies on there. And I see larvae. If you look down in there on this corner, the edge, you see white things in there, and those are the larvae that are in there that are growing. They haven't capped those over yet. but eventually they will. So that's all bees there, and on this side too. Look at all the eggs that she's laying. That is awesome. She's doing a great job. She's doing a busy queen, and you see the color up in the corners? Those are all full of pollens, and that's going to be used to help feed the babies. And I see a little bit of honey that's being capped on the corner too, and they use that to help feed as well. Okay, so we got that. This hive is looking really good. I'll take this piece off right here carefully, and this off here. You try to keep them together as tight as you can so the bees don't build out too far. You want to just kind of fill this. These are designed that where they touch gives them plenty of space for what they need to do in between, so they build a nice comb. Get this moved over. Pull this one out. Again, we're going to pull this up carefully, slowly, not to roll anybody. And there you go again. Look at that. They've got a lot of capped over babies in there. I see the yellow on that one's legs in there, and that's pollen that's been brought in from the outside. This side too. Well, there they got larvae. You can see up on the very top. You see honey in the corners that's capped over. There's pollen underneath that, and it's all covered over little ones in there. Boy, I'd like to be able to find that queen if I could. They're sometimes pretty hard to find. Well, maybe we'll see her on the next frame. I didn't see her here. Put this back in gently. It's not hurting any of the bees. I don't know if I'm going to go through all these, but I see enough already to know that everything is working very well in this hive. She's going to lay 1,000 eggs a day, so that these bees only live about 31 days and they die because they work themselves to death. So they got to be very busy laying more eggs, creating more bees. So we'll have 60 to 70,000 bees by the time summer hits, so that during the peak time of flower production, they're gathering all kinds of nectar. Yeah, see, this one they're just building those frames over. There's no brood on there. And on this side, it looks like they're filling in with honey, and they've got, looks like bigger cells. Those are drone cells, which are male bees. So they only make about 400 or 500 male bees in a hive. And come winter time and fall, they all get kicked out because all they do is eat honey. They don't do anything to help, other than they are here to impregnate a virgin queen if that case were to come about. I'm going to carefully now push these together so I can get that last one in. That last frame is empty, and I'm sure that one's empty as well. And they'll get to it. I'm glad we have that room in there yet, because if it gets too crowded, the queen will swarm, take the bees and go somewhere else. And I don't want her to do that. And I'll give her more space so that she'll have a second set of boxes that she can lay more eggs into, and they can add honey into as well. And that honey is going to be kept for them in those two boxes to get them through the winter time. And then we're going to put a box on top of the two after that, which is called a super. And that super is our boxes that will have a queen separator to keep the queen out of. And then we'll be gathering honey then for us to consume and to sell and give to our neighbors too. I'm going to put this box back down carefully, not to kill any of those bees. Like that. You can see they're working on drinking up some of that sugar water. I'm going to turn this upside down to get the stop dripping. I'll put that right here, cover up that hole so they can come up from the below and drink all the water they need. So we got to keep it on them yet, because there's not enough out in nature for them to feed off of. So we're gonna keep feeding them until we get closer to that time. And that's it for this hive.